ちは。はじめまして。ランティングスパイダーマンと申します。普通に勉強しています。日本語が話したい。日本語が好きです。でも、古いテレビゲームも好きです。ゼルダとマリオとファイアーエンブレムとファイナルファンタジーが大好きです。でも、ヘイローが嫌いです。よろしくお願いします。That wasn't very good, but I'm still working on my speech. So, this is a little update video about me studying Japanese. Before I go into what has changed since last time, I will address a little Ranting Spider-Man channel update. Currently, right now, I am playing a game, but because of doing all this Japanese learning things, whatever, on top of 2 jobs, I've had very little time. The game I'm currently playing and plan to do for next Ranting Spider-Man is this game, The Last Story. So far, I do like it quite a bit, and I can't wait to actually delve more into it, but it's kind of on hold until I really get more into this speaking Japanese thing. So, last time when I recorded and spoke about learning Japanese, I think I was about 2 months in, and I didn't know very much. I knew very basic things. So I am now 5 months into studying Japanese, and a lot of things have changed in terms of how I am learning, and I'm going to talk about the problems I was facing when I started. And I think the biggest problem, I have 2 big problems that really held me back that I feel like I wasted a lot of my time doing. The first one was focusing way too much on kanji. Now that sounds weird because kanji is very, very important when you're learning Japanese. And it really is, but my problem was focusing too much on one kanji that aren't very common and really trying to learn the readings of them, like individual readings. And you know, I really wanted to learn the readings, but then I was reading Tai Kim's grammar guide, and when it got to the point of learning how to read the kanji, he said, don't even bother learning that. Don't even bother focusing on that, because some kanji have so many different readings that you're just creating problems for yourself and holding yourself back by trying to memorize each individual reading when the meanings stay pretty much the same. So it's more important to get the meanings. And this is something abroad in Japan touched on as well. And I'm starting to agree with him more on this, is that when you learn a word and you learn the kanji that goes with that word, they'll just come together in your head and you'll be able to read it better. And I have experienced that firsthand. So I feel like I wasted too much time really focusing on how to learn kanji, or how to read the kanji, rather than just learn the meanings. Now with that said though, learning the meanings is also something I just want to say I didn't really understand why kanji would mean what they did or what components made them that way. A lot of times it seemed pretty random, and so that was giving me trouble for a while. But I did get something recently. This is printed out version of Remembering the Kanji by Hasing. I think that's how you say his name. Now, I didn't actually buy the book because there are 5 books, I think, and they're several hundred pages long. And while these don't necessarily teach you in any important order, it's more of just ascribing meanings to each individual kanji and then putting together how they equal that meaning. And it's been very helpful for me. I've only had it for a couple days. I do plan on actually buying the book. I just wanted to sample it before I actually got it, and I'm very happy with it, so I plan on buying the books. I do hope I can just get like a big bulk deal on all the books though, just because I don't feel like buying individual books. So that was it. That was one of my biggest problems starting, was just learning to read the kanji was an unnecessary difficulty that I put upon myself. And this is the second thing, and probably the biggest thing that held me back, was not making my own flashcards, which sounds ridiculous. Now, when I mean flashcards, I don't mean these. I don't mean physical flashcards, because I completely did away with physical flashcards because it was too time consuming, it was holding me back, and it was just unnecessary. But I was using Anki decks, but I was using shared Anki decks. I wasn't really, I wasn't making my own decks or my own cards, so I wasn't learning words at a fast enough pace, and that was such a stupid waste of time. I have since gone on to make my own Anki decks. I'll show a picture of them right here. As you can see, I have different decks for adjectives, separating them between not adjectives, no adjectives, and adjectives. Separate deck for verbs. Should probably build some more sub decks for verbs, but whatever. Adverbs, numbers. And then, of course, I have kanji, and this particular deck is in the Heisig order that I'm using, so that's very helpful. Just quick reviewing. So, doing that alone has increased my understanding dramatically, and I feel like I wasted so much time. It was so lazy of me to rely so much on other people's decks. If you're going to learn Japanese, you really should make your own decks. And if I feel like these decks that I make are super helpful and I think can be, grasped by anybody, then I will gladly share them online. But as it stands right now, obviously I'm missing thousands of words, so I'm not going to be posting these anytime soon. I add new decks every time, or I add new cards every time I hear a new word or discover a new word or a new concept. Now, one thing I am doing with these flashcards that may seem a little counterproductive is that I am writing them in Romanji. I am not using hiragana, unless the word itself can only be written in hiragana, because a lot of these words, you can look at the word for difficult in Japanese, muzukashi, and you could type it out in hiragana on the flashcard if you want, but there's really no point because there's a kanji for difficult. And if you see the kanji for difficult and you know the meaning, you're gonna know the word, especially if it's by itself. So I'm just teaching myself Romanji because it's easier. It's just getting the word itself in my head quicker when it's in my native text. So it seems a little controversial, but the thing is with the card, I am having the correct way they are typed out in Japanese above the card, so you'll see muzukashi in kanji, followed by hiragana, and then underneath of it, you'll see it in Romanji. And my plan is to just get the words in my head, and then go back to the cards and delete the hiragana and reverse them. So then I'm just seeing the word as kanji, and then I have to reverse it, or I have to translate it in my head to understand it. And I think that will definitely help me with my reading. My reading is still not very good right now, and I think that's normal because learning Japanese, there's a huge difference between speaking and reading. Now, surprisingly, the speaking Japanese part has not been super difficult, or at least the core grammar and how to understand it, that hasn't been super hard. It's been difficult because it's so alien to me, but it hasn't been ungodly annoying or difficult. Whereas kanji, yeah, that is very difficult, and just reading Japanese in general is difficult, and I'm okay with that. That's something I'm gonna have to get used to. And ironically, the whole point of learning Japanese was to play imported Japanese video games and understand them better and save myself money. Ironically enough, because of all this, I have spent very little time actually playing, wrong hand, that big stack of video games back there. I spent very little time actually playing it, which is a little depressing, but whatever. And ironically enough also, it's so weird that I'm deciding to learn a second language because I am not much of a people person, really. It's not that... It's kind of hard to say, but it's just I refuse to make small talk with people. I don't if I'm, in line or something, I don't talk about the weather with the person behind me or in front of me. It's just the stupid superficial shit that I don't care about. And it's so weird that I'm learning how to speak a different language, but I'm not going to be doing anything like that, even though that's more polite. But I think I will maybe do that in Japanese, because with Japanese, at least it feels less superficial because it's something new and different for me. So, there's that. So the resources I have been using, you saw last time I used 3 sources. I was using This grammar book, which I still like, even though the more I'm reading it, the more it kind of is a little incorrect, because one thing that's weird about this book is that they tell you to say watakushi, which is a super formal way of saying watashi or I, and it's just unnecessarily polite. But the book is good in terms of just breaking down things in basic ways. I still like the book. This is becoming more and more of just a reference book. Less excited about it, but I still like that they teach you if it would focus. It's not focusing, whatever. But I still like how they teach you right here. They teach you words using the kanji you're learning. Not always great, because a lot of times they're not exactly the most common or easily or just used words, but still not bad. And of course, I'm still using this book actually quite a bit, getting a lot of use out of this, and it's just a basic translator, and I haven't had negative things to say about that. It serves its purpose. I wish it provided a little bit more context, but hey, Google, that's fine. I have bought 2 more books. I finally broke down and I bought Japanese from Zero by George Trombley. Now this book, it's kind of a mixed bag for me, because, I mean, when they say from zero, they really do mean from zero. Like, you don't even know hiragana or katakana when you're learning this book. And to me, for me personally, that's really... I just couldn't do the earlier lessons, because he would write everything in romanji, but as you learn hiragana, he would replace the romanji with the hiragana, and you have to switch back. I couldn't do that, and especially for some of these things that are written in kanji that I do know, I would just write them in kanji. It was so counter to how I'm programmed right now. So for those earlier lessons, I wasn't like crazy about it, but as it goes on, it does get... it has gotten better, and I really like it. And what's great about this book in particular is that when you buy it, not only are you getting the book, but you're basically getting the free lessons and reviews of the book online that he posts on his YouTube channel. He doesn't have to do that. It's very cool that he does. He gives context that is not in the book. So I highly, highly recommend Japanese from Zero for beginners. If you're at a more of an intermediate level, I would still say get it, but expect... the first couple of lessons to be kind of annoying, or just counter to how you're programmed at that point. It is nice to have a workbook, and I think it's very important to get a workbook for learning Japanese. But the thing with this one is because, strangely enough, a little side story here. So I said last time I was going to start watching Detective Conan to practice my Japanese listening, and I was doing that. I was watching Detective Conan. But then my wife happened to catch an episode. She started to really like the show. And then next thing you know, we were watching Detective Conan almost every night. And then I made a list of all the episodes that were actually necessary for plot. We watched all of Detective Conan. And it completely sidetracked me, I should say, from actually listening to Japanese. Although I was able to catch a couple words while watching Detective Conan, especially the pattern, because that show's so fucking repetitive. But it really just turned into me and my wife watching anime every night, which I don't have a problem with. But I bring that up because of all of that, my wife is actually taking an interest in Japanese. She's actually interested in learning Japanese, which it's amazing. My wife's a nurse, so she's got a lot of stuff she already has to learn, but to learn Japanese on top of that, man, props to her. She's got a lust for knowledge. But I left a lot of these exercises blank. I would just write them on scrap paper, because she could use them. And just in general, I think that's smart, just to save yourself. Don't waste a book. Just use scrap paper, and then you could keep reusing the book, or just loan it to friends. Saves money for everybody, and it's also, I mean, it's a nice book. It's a very nice book. You don't want to fuck it up. Now, more from Japanese from Zero, I got Kanji from Zero. And this book is, it's kind of a mixed bag for me, too, because... one, it's kind of repetitive in how the lessons go. They're all the same thing. Let me try to get this in there. They all are the same kind of format. It's kanji, write these words, put them in the sentence, and then next lesson's the same thing until you get to the super review. And this book is more focused on the readings a lot of the time. And sometimes it's a little counterproductive, because there are some sentences that he'll give you where the meanings are written, and you insert the kanji, but then there's times where it's like focus on the readings, but it's always not the most it's not always the most common reading. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I do like this book, and I mean, you're getting your money's worth with this book. This book was about like $30, but it is a thick ass book. It's over 430 pages, so you're gonna get your money's worth with this book. But I would say still focus on just getting the meanings down. And another problem with this book, I feel, it's like, wow, I really sound like I'm shit talking this book. I don't hate this book at all. It's a very good book. But is they don't really give you enough, boxes to practice the kanji. But what's nice is that they do, if I can do this, there we go. All right, they do give you example words that use the kanjis. And I feel that's important to put in your flashcards. Once you learn words, teach yourself the word, and then once you learn the word just in general, then teach the word to yourself again, but in kanji, or even just the proper way that it's written. And I've done this. I made my own because I'm skilled with Photoshop and just editing software in general. I was able to make myself some kanji practice sheets. As you can see, my handwriting's atrocious, but just write the kanji right there, the meaning, and then just practice writing it until my fingers bleed. And then I left myself just random spur to practice kanji some more, no particular ones. So I have a bunch of these. One's not showing up. There we go. Sorry about that. I have a bunch of these because I've been doing these all the time. That I can share if you guys want it. If anyone who's learning Japanese is interested, I can share the sheet that I'm using or the sheet that I made, and you can go get it printed out at Staples, and it'll be great. It's fun. So the last thing I've done, and this is very recent, I think I did this like not even 3 days ago. I have gotten Genki. Now, to make something clear about Genki, I was trying to get a hold of Genki 1, but I make it clear there are 4 Genki books. There are 2 textbooks, Genki 1, Genki 2 textbooks, orange and green, and then there are 2 workbooks. Same thing, Genki 1, Genki 2, orange and green, but the textbooks, the workbooks themselves are like this. They are all the color, whereas the textbooks, there's a lot of white. This is the textbook, okay. But the problem with Genki is that it's very good, but everyone knows it's very good. So if you look on eBay, the prices for Genki are very expensive. There's I saw a set of all 4 books for $200, and I am a broke ass bitch, so I'm not spending that kind of money on that. So what I did is I did find PDF files, and I went to Staples, went to their fax machine, and printed out 11 cents a page, put them in a binder. This isn't all of them. I just start off with the first 100 pages for both of them. This is the workbook. And what I like about Genki, I haven't really used it all that much yet, but what I like about this is that it doesn't even bother with teaching you hiragana or katakana. It expects you to know it, which is more suited for me because I don't feel... with Japanese from Zero, he teaches it progressively, but at the same time, it's a little counterproductive for him because he has a whole book dedicated to Kana from Zero, and I just think that's kind of goes against what he's teaching you in the Japanese from Zero books. But I'm assuming that is for people who don't want to bother with progressive learning, which I personally don't, because I don't feel hiragana or katakana are difficult enough to warrant learning over little bits at a time. I mean, I was able to get those both down within a week and a half. It's not very difficult to get hiragana or katakana down, so that's fine. But I also printed out Genki's textbook. So this is the textbook. This is just reading. This is the workbook. This is writing and practicing. Much like Japanese from Zero, I'm more than likely going to use a piece of scrap paper in my notebook for this, just because I don't want to waste it. I mean, doing all that, printing out all 4 books, getting nice binders for them, and putting the MP3 files from the CDs on my phone it's a lot, but it's going to save me so much more than actually buying the books on eBay. And I don't like saying that because I believe firmly that you should support people when it is available, or when it's the easier option. Like Japanese from Zero, there is no reason to get PDF files or whatever, because those books are very fairly priced. They're very fair, they're very affordable, and you get a lot out of them. But with Genki, it is, because it's so known to be so good, it is price gouged to shit, and I don't want to contribute to price gougers. I tried ordering the books on Barnes & Noble. It just couldn't happen. I don't know why. They said it was discontinued, but these books that I have say they're made in 2011. I don't know. I don't care. I just want to practice my my Japanese, and those will provide me with it. So, I'm also listening to a little bit more Japanese music. But the thing is, I do like J-pop. I've always liked J-pop, but I've never been like so into fucking J-pop that I needed to understand what they're saying, because I don't really care that much. But because I'm more of a heavy metal sort of hardcore guy, and I did, strangely enough, find a band like that I enjoy. It's called, I'm sure maybe you've heard of it, it's called Baby Metal. I don't fucking know why I like that, but I do. I was watching their video for Karate and Gimme Chocolate. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And more importantly, why do I like this? And within like 2 days, I'm fucking driving to work, just going, I don't know, but yeah. So I'm listening to Baby Metal now. I'm sure they're singing. I mean, with the song "Gimme Chocolate," I know they're singing stupid shit. But I don't know. It's just I like heavy metal. I like J-pop to an extent. So maybe just combining the two did something. I don't know. And also, I found a website. The last resource I'm going to talk about, I found a website. Forget the name of it. I'll put it right here on the screen. But it is a very, very nice site where basically it has anime. It has the script to the anime, subtitled, and you can drag your cursor over it. You can choose hiragana or kanji, or full Japanese, or romanji subtitles. You can select a word you don't know. It'll bring up the meaning. It is a very, very useful site. Admittedly, I have not used it that much just because I have been trying to focus more on inputting Japanese as just text, but I plan to speak it more, and that is going to be something I plan on using a lot. I'm going to be watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, my favorite anime of all time, and I will totally love the hell out of that. So, on top of all that, you might have noticed I'm using a different camera than normal. This is a nice camera. I don't like that it records in letterbox. I mean, I would prefer just widescreen, but the reason I got this camera is for Skype. I've never had a Skype before, but I found a Japanese speaking partner, and we spoke twice. He was a very nice person. The thing is, I was a little for me, because his English level, his English conversation skills are much higher than my Japanese conversation skills. So a lot of the time, we end up speaking in English, and I help him with his pronunciation. I give him tongue twisters. I give him one where it's like, Lily really loves Ryan's lemons, and he was having a very hard time with that, obviously. And so it's fun. I'm not getting as much out of it as I would like. I'm learning more cultural things, which I do enjoy. So it's not a total loss. And I am on italki now. That's where I met him. I do plan on getting a tutor soon. I'm starting off with a native English speaker tutor just because it'd be easier, quicker to be corrected in my native language. And then once I feel like my conversation skills have improved enough, I will speak to a native Japanese speaker who is bilingual. So she can maybe explain things to me in English if I fuck up, but I would prefer a Japanese speaker at that point. And then I would want just a straight Japanese English speaker. Whether they speak English or not is irrelevant. But that's further down. I do want to take the JLPT test, but I don't think I'm going to be ready by the one in December. I think I'm going to end up taking the one in July. By July of 2018, I will be a year and 2 months into learning Japanese, and I'm hoping, I did do some sample questions, and they weren't too difficult, so I'm hoping by that point I will be able to pass, and it'll be wonderful. So I think that's it. I think that's all I really have to say or report on. I'm still using High Native. I don't think I really stopped with the apps that I plugged last time. I think a lot of them were very useful apps, and I still recommend everything I recommended before. So yeah, I think that's it. Definitely improving. I feel like I do feel like I wasted too much time in the beginning, but now I feel like I'm just constantly going. I'm learning a lot. It is killing my social life a bit, but that's fine. One last thing I'll mention. This is just kind of a random thing, but at one of my jobs, we got a new guy, and he's a regular looking Joe, just like anybody else. By some fucking miracle, he just happens to be fluent in Japanese. Apparently he lived in Japan for a couple of years. He speaks perfect Japanese. So a lot of times, as my Japanese has been improving, me and him have been, whenever we're working together, we kind of just talk shit about our coworkers in Japanese. And that's fun, and he corrects me when I mess up. So, of all fucking odds, two random guys suddenly working together speak Japanese. Or, well, I speak some, but you get it. But it's a very odd coincidence. Not complaining about it at all. It's been quite fun. So, yeah, I think that's it. I know I've said I'm going to end this like 6 times, but I think that's really it. So, hopefully I can get back to video games with the last story, because I do want to keep playing this game. I have legitimately been enjoying this game. And Mario Odyssey just came out today. I'm not even going to buy it right away, just because I want it. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to fucking buy Mario Odyssey. But it's just, I have other things to work on getting contacts, all this kind of stuff. I did beat Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, in case anyone's wondering. I did play that, beat it, 8 out of 10 game. So buy it, you're gonna like it, especially if you like strategy games. So hopefully I can get back into the video game stuff soon. But I do feel like, because Japanese and learning Japanese has been such a big part of my life the last couple months, it's something I wanted to share. And you guys seem interested enough. I got some messages last time about just different things I've been using, and people sending me suggestions and different videos to practice, and it's always appreciated. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sending me stuff. And I just hit 100 subscribers not that long ago. Whoop-de-fucking-do, but hey, that's kind of cool. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.